Victory Monday is here once again. The trade deadline is less than 24 hours away. Will Ryan Poles make a move? I know Bears fans want that. And we're going to be talking halfway through the season progress report on Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. It's CHGO Bears After Dark, and we are starting right now. Welcome back to CHGO Bears After Dark, presented by our good friends over at Circa Sports, Illinois. Circa Sports, it's sports betting the way it should be. Make sure you're downloading your new bookie today at circasports.com. Money problems, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Always, we appreciate our friends over at Circa Sports for their undying support to this program. It's a big show here tonight. We got a lot to get to. I am your host, Greg Braggs Jr. Alongside me, as always, is Shane Marsaw from the Tape Never Lies Network. We've got trade deadline talk. We've got half-season progress reports to get to. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson. You'll hear from them. You'll hear from Ben here today on some of those things. Got some audio to pull. Got some different trade targets to potentially look at. We know Ryan Poles can always make moves here. But let's start it out because it is Victory Monday once again. Shane, the Bears are now 5-3 on the regular season. That matches their win total from last year. Certainly feels good and have an opportunity to get back on a winning streak here as they look ahead to the Giants next Sunday.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to. You know what? It's going to be nice. Get out there against the Giants. Rome Odunze might even catch a football. Imagine that. You know, we'll be going. His dad will calm down and holster the tweeter. It'll be
and I did see, obviously. I mean, I did see some of the tweets. I'll say this much, and everybody's their own way. I was talking about this earlier with some friends. You know, and you know this as a dad in youth sports. It's a little different level when your kid's playing in the NFL or on the professional level. But, you know, I've covered high school sports. I cover college sports currently. And for me personally, parents are going to be parents. I understand he's putting it on social media, so it is certainly open for criticism. That being said, I personally just leave it alone. It's who he is. I don't think what he says is a representation of how Rome feels. It's just
I don't either, but he's got to. If it was my son, I would tell my son the same thing. You got to catch the football. Your top 10 pick. That's what you get paid for.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure he wants, I think he's 11th in the NFL in drops, but leading the Bears in targets. He didn't have, a busy day at the office yesterday. He certainly had some balls he wanted back. Certainly that one in the end zone could have been a touchdown for him. But that being said, the Bears offense exploded yesterday, Shane, and it was a sight to behold. We're not used to, we're used to the Bears. In our time, maybe younger Bears fans aren't used to the Bears winning a game like that. But I think we are just not from an offensive way. We're used to the Bears winning a crazy game defensively or with special teams. But this is one of the few games we've ever had in our lifetime, maybe dating back to the, way back in the day. But I've just never seen too many Bears games personally where the offense is the reason you pull some insane comeback at the last second.
What was Kevin Fishbane had some numbers. The Bears have lost 50 straight games when they've given up, 42 plus points. I think it was. It's crazy. Yeah. It's very un-Chicago Bear like, but the thing about it is, Greg, is we left plays out there. That's the bad part. There was plays out there to be made where they could have had a lot more than that. But
but I don't look at it as a bad thing.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I look at it like it's crazy to consider that this team is doing all this where the offense still is far from perfect. A lot of things that they can clean up, and yet they're trending towards one of the top offensive teams in football.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And it's, I think Ben Johnson talks, and people just don't want to hear it because they want points every time you touch the football. And listen, the Bears are a flawed team. I don't even need to get into the defensive portion of it because they're short manned out there. But you go back and just look into the tape. I haven't gotten into it too much, but Theo Benedict, he's got some things there that you like, but he's got some things that are also kind of concerning. The one thing that gets me very, very excited beyond our quarterback is you're starting to see Darnell Wright not just take a step. You see him. I actually think it was you, Greg, bringing out, this is why you drafted him top 10. You were bringing up the Jalen Carter debate, and now you're seeing it. He doesn't just want to block you. He wants to destroy you and tell you about it and embarrass you on the football field. And that's the way that he needs to handle this, down in and down out. And you're starting to see that. I mean, Theo even had a couple of them down the field where he rode the guy, 10 yards out of bounds and put him down on the ground. That's a demeanor. And that is critical with a team that is, ascending like the Bears are, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, certainly a lot. And again, that just makes me I keep saying it. I've said it, you do so many shows a week. And so you know how it is. I get repetitive. So I apologize for people that tune into all of our programming. I appreciate you guys tuning into every show, but I just keep saying the light at the end of the tunnel is so clear to me. I see Ben Johnson hoisting a Lombardi trophy for the Chicago Bears one day. That's how much I believe in the coach that he is. And it just, now it comes down to, all right, well, how far is this tunnel? How far is that light at the end? And it's exciting. That for me is just exciting. And we're kind of still in that balance of, if they had lost some of these games that were real close at the end, I'd still feel the same way. And then I think some fans would think I'm trying to sell a bill of goods on these shows. But I haven't really gotten too caught up in the playoff picture because they're right on the edge of it. Even right now, they're the first team out of the playoffs. Last week, they were the last team in. It's a kind of a deep NFC conference. It looks like you're going to have to win 10, maybe 11 games to get in. There could very well be a 10-win team that doesn't make the playoffs. But that being said, whatever they finish with from a win-loss perspective, I am just so excited for every Sunday, and I'm so excited for the next, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years with Ben Johnson as the head coach.
I hear you, and that's the thing. I feel like people are just so dug in that they forget that this is, the Bears are 5-3. You're 8 games into this process of a completely new, revamped, everything for the Chicago Bears under Ben Johnson. I mean, literally everything has changed. The tenor of the franchise, the expectations, what you're doing every day, the accountability in practice, the accountability on and off the field. And you see the bumps, you see the missed passes, you see the penalties, you see the hiccups, and it's not going to be a perfect process from Jump Street. And that's kind of where you're at. And fans, unfortunately, just have to accept it. But at the same time, with those bumps in the road, and I don't care if you want to bring up the Chicago Bears schedule, then you better be bringing it up for New England, who has the second easiest schedule since 1978. Right. Nobody's talking about that, but you're going to bring it up with Chicago. They're 5-3. Yeah. Does the schedule get tougher? Of course it does. Yes, it gets tougher, but this team is also getting better. They have a chance by tomorrow to improve it even more if they want to make a move. And I know we're going to get into that later, but that's the thing, man. Now you're in the mode. You're right back to where you were when you went to Vegas. You're in prove-it mode. You cannot come back to Soldier Field and lose a game to the New York Football Giants at home. Can't do it.
Right.
Can't.
No.
Can't do it. There's no excuse.
No, and you brought up Darnell Wright earlier, and I honestly, it was bad on me. We talked so much about Colson Loveland and Kyle Monunga yesterday, who was unbelievable. I don't even know if we're going to have enough time to talk about those two guys tonight with everything we have, kind of prepped for this show, but they deserve huge shout outs. They got a bunch of them from everyone yesterday, but Darnell Wright, you brought it up earlier. You're 100% right. Like this guy, everybody wants to talk about whether they should have drafted Jalen Carter or not. That's all put to bed now. We understand Jalen Carter's a great player. There's no question. And the Bears
it was put to get to bed that night. The Bears weren't built for Jalen Carter.
Yeah, and whether you can, I get, and I've heard a lot of fans make that point. We could pick nits on that philosophy or not, but the bottom line is the Bears needed an offensive lineman at that moment. And so my whole criteria was like, all right, because I was a big draft Jalen Carter guy. But then the night they decided not to, I let it go because I understood like something with when I cover Purdue basketball. Matt Painter always talks about talk to me about the process, not the result. And so if your process makes sense, then I'm not going to fight it, even if sometimes the result doesn't always work out. Now, that being said, with this, the process of drafting an offensive lineman at that time, when they were trying to figure out who Justin Fields was, they needed an offensive lineman. It wouldn't have been fair to his evaluation without having an offensive lineman. Not to mention, you just need offensive linemen, as we learned this last offseason when the Bears had to completely revamp their O-line. Darnell Wright, my whole thing was, all right, if you're going to pass on Jalen Carter, then the only criteria that Darnell Wright then has to meet is he has to be a top 3, top 5 right tackle in the league. And right now, you said it on this program a few weeks ago when he got hurt in the Raiders game and they put Ozzie Trapillo in there at right. Have you seen Darnell Wright have a penalty since? Because that was my biggest gripe to start the year. He was having like penalties a game. He's been playing clean football, and now he's playing what he's always played, and that's violent, physical football and slamming guys like Shamar Stewart down with authority.
The threat of losing playing time is a real thing, and it doesn't. You talk about youth sports; it starts there, all the way up to the professional ranks. Nobody wants to be sitting on that bench, especially when you're a top 10 pick. Because let's be honest, yes, he's got top 10 money in the bank, which to him is obviously more money than he's ever seen. Second contract is where you start talking about generational wealth. And he's on the brink of that. He's on that trajectory of getting that and solidifying himself and his family that's not even around yet. So that all plays into it. Darnell has always been somebody that's a little bit aloof, but at some point, hey, we all grow up. I know the Greg Braggs that I first met isn't the same Greg Braggs that I know now. It's the same with everybody. And it's the same with Darnell Wright. And you're seeing it on the field where when they say the little things matter like that, that's usually a lot of times it's, you know what? You have to take the Tuesday practice in July serious because it matters. And maybe he wasn't all the time. And I think that there's probably some other guys, and that's why this is a weeding out process in 2025 for Ben Johnson, because there's going to be guys that you think are going to be on this team next year that are not going to be, and that's going to be a Ben Johnson decision because they're not all in on the Ben Johnson way of doing things.
Yep. It's definitely kind of a vetting process right now for Ben Johnson. And that's why here, when we get to our next segment of this program, we're going to talk about some of the different moves that the Chicago Bears can potentially make here. And they certainly have some decisions to make on that front. And so we're going to get to that. We do have a super chat that came in here early from Ed BTZ $5 super chat saying Bengals missed the field goal was because they brought out QB ball, not kicking ball. Kicking unit came after clock, so can't change ball. Do you understand that? That's like,
well, there's two different ball. There's a QB ball and the kicking
I
ball.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Okay. I was like, my brain is fried.
I said you're more mature, you're not smarter.
Yes, thank you.
So,
thank you. And we appreciate everyone tuning in because I see MH Grizzlies 40 in the chat says, can't watch Monday Night Football, so here I am. I know that's a big thing right now with YouTube TV and ESPN having their contract dispute, and everybody goes through it. I'm still a DirecTV guy, so they had it last year, early in the season, and it's just
supposedly there is a workaround that's floating around out there.
Yeah, everybody's got the workaround, so hopefully people can find their way to watching the game tonight. But yes, I know how annoying that is. So yeah, sit back, relax. Hey, maybe there's breaking news while we do this show. I was talking with Adam Hogue about that earlier. You never know. This could literally happen tonight with the trade deadline less than 24 hours away. 3 p.m. Central tomorrow is the trade deadline. So we'll have to see what the Bears do. But hey, with the Cowboys and other teams kind of lurking around, potentially the same kind of players the Bears are looking at, something could happen here while we're live on the show here tonight. So stick with us. We're going to, right here, coming after the break, we're going to talk about some of the options the Chicago Bears have at their disposal and continue our Chicago Bears conversation. So hit that like button while you're hanging out. Subscribe to the channel. Draft Dr. Phil Ottochian will be joining us on the other side of it. So appreciate everyone. More Bears talk on your way. Whatever the sport, the app to bet is Circa Sports Illinois. Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be. Circa Sports Illinois has high betting limits, low holds, and exceptional customer service. Bet on all your favorite teams in every game this season, whether it's spreads, props, futures, or in-game. Circa Sports has it for you. Fund and bet like a pro from anywhere, anytime in Illinois. Bulls are playing right now. Hey, want to make sure you lay down your bet before the game gets over. Bulls have been hot. 5-1 start on the season. Blackhawks have been hot. Bears are 5-3. What is this? What is going on here in the city? Well, you got to take advantage when you go to circasports.com. Make sure you use Circa Sports Illinois. Download your new bookie today. Once again, at circasports.com. You must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Always use our friends over at Circa Sports because we appreciate them very much, and they do a fantastic job. And another thing that you guys got to make sure you get on is our tailgates. That's right. Coming up here on Sunday, we got a 12 o'clock game against the New York Football Giants at Soldier Field, but you won't want to miss the tailgate happening on before that at the corner of Wabash and Cermak. Head to allchgo.com/events and you can get your tickets there. Always a huge crowd every single tailgate. It is the gold standard in tailgating, and you will not be disappointed if you head out to our tailgates. All you can eat barbecue, all you can drink beer, all the good vibes you can possibly have, all the Bears fans that you want to hang out with. We'll all be there. Come hang out with the CHGO Bears crew. And honestly, let's get on this winning streak together, because I'll tell you right now, coming up at the corner of Wabash and Cermak on Sunday, it's going to be a madhouse. That's right. It will be a madhouse for our tailgate on Sunday as the Bears look to move to 6-3 on the regular season and surpass their win total from last year as Draft Dr. Phil joins us here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Phil, I know you just came back from football practice, and I know you're working hard with your young bucks over there. We'll just give you a little quick rundown of the night. We're here in a minute. We're going to talk about some trade deadline decisions that the Bears have to make, throw you guys some different targets that maybe the Bears should be considering. And then later in the show, I think we're going to go over some of the thoughts that Ben Johnson had on Caleb Williams. And then I have some different stats that I've been seeing run around the Twitter sphere on the halfway point progress report with Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, and this offense. But I certainly wanted to give you the floor here to kind of give, now that the dust is settled after that thrilling victory in Cincinnati yesterday. And I know you guys gave all your thoughts on your post-game show last night, so make sure you guys go check that out as well. But where are you at now that, we're 24 hours removed from one of the craziest games we've seen as Bears fans? And that's saying a lot because we've been through some pretty crazy games.
Yeah, we're usually on the other side of that, and it felt like it was going that way for a minute, but your quarterback had something to say about it. And Greg, I felt like very confident for the first time in my life that a quarterback was going to overtake the special team snafus and the lack of any kind of defensive back the Bears had yesterday and bring his team down and hopefully not rely on Cairo Santos was my true feeling at that moment. And listen, he did what we know that we've talked about on our network that this kid is. He's clutch all the time. And there's numbers out there to showcase how many times this guy has put this team last year and then again this year in a position to win. However, been let down for whatever reason, block field goals. We know the story. Thanksgiving Day, the coach and Washington, Hail Mary, and all that stuff. But it was an emotional roller coaster. I thought, if you are still in this hate on Caleb camp or cult or whatever it is, I just advise you just give up being a Bears fan because this is your guy. He is the Hall. He's always been that. And the offense is going to run through him and the identity of what it is you're doing in running the football. And what a great showcase for Kyle yesterday. I'm not even going to try to say
Manun guy.
What a great showcase. I want to address something, Greg. I know you're not asking this, and I know you are a fan of this player. I've been very observant and analytical, and thus I get hard on him.
Sorry, Cole.
The pass to Cole Kmet was not a hospital ball. In all of my years of coaching, I think fans need to know what a hospital ball is. It's a throw over the middle with a defender coming in the direction of the player. What Cole Kmet failed to do was catch the football with his eyes on a shallow cross. Caleb throws it in the backdoor window, and maybe we just deal with a bunch of illiterate football people that don't know, and that's right at his face. What Cole does is jump and stop his feet, and then he's thinking he's going to get hit, and thus he stumbles like clunky Cole does and falls to the ground as a defender. Now there's a easy screenshot. The defender's 8 yards away. That's not a hospital ball. You know who put him in the hospital? Cole did. And the defender leading with his head as he's falling to the ground. So I just want to get that out, especially on this show where there's a lot of other fans that maybe aren't TTNL, but I'll break this down very easily. And it's you don't have to jump for the ball on a shallow cross. Just run through it, catch with your eyes and your hands, and then truck somebody like you're supposed to do. Cole created that. So the Sylvies of the world that are campaigning this crap out there need to stop. Learn the game, zip your mouth, and understand. Don't need to jump, run through it, catch with your hands, and we're all set there. Hospital ball is a deep in cut, a flag with a defender sitting outside, waiting in zone, and you're leading him right into contact. That did not happen on that play. I know we weren't talking about it. I wanted to address it.
All right. Well, it's on the record, but Cole's my guy, so that's enough of that. No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Hey, Cole can take criticism, and so can we.
He would be honest. Watching the tape, he's going to be like, "Yeah, Phil, he's right. I shouldn't have jumped. I just ran through it."
Well, regardless, we are hoping that everything. Hopefully, Cole can return here soon. You know how much Ben likes to use two tight ends, but a certain tight end in Colston Loveland certainly broke out yesterday as well, and I know everybody's really excited for that. But we'll turn to Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson in the offense here in a little bit later in the program, but with the NFL trade deadline less than 24 hours away, and quite frankly, a trade for, a player with the Bears is imminent at this point. It could happen on this show. I certainly want to get to some of this trade deadline conversation. And so I think I'll kick it off with, a little, Ben Johnson, audio here. He talked to the media here earlier today. And so I want to share kind of where his headspace is at. And I think that'll set up the conversation of what the Bears can look at in terms of trade targets. So here's Ben talking about the options they have and kind of where they are in terms of a viewpoint of where they are as a team on the season.
Hey, Ben, two questions for you going into the trade deadline tomorrow. And we talked about this a few weeks ago, but how do you weigh, with the voice that you have in terms of personnel, how do you weigh the pressing needs versus protecting those future assets that you need to build something long-term here?
Those are always great questions. Ryan and I have a constant dialogue on players that might be available. We talk nonstop about this, and we've been doing it for a while now. And so he's doing, like I said, all of his due diligence and making sure we look at everyone that could be available and that could help this football team in the here and the now, and also have in the back of our head what the ramifications of that also are, and the consequences when you give up capital, whether it's players or draft picks, what that does to your roster in the long term. So it is a balancing act, but it's one that I think we have a really good process and a lot of communication on.
As you look at, things that will help you right now, the possibilities of moves you could make, how do you view the division and the NFC at large after 8 games for you guys?
Yeah, no, we're right in the mix of it. I think, the message to our guys going out of the bye week was we had to find a way to win 3 out of the next 4, and we've done that. And because of that, we're sitting at a place about halfway through the season. We're 5-3, and that's the parity of the NFL each and every year. It goes down to the wire, and so there's a lot at stake. I mean, we can go any number of which ways here the second half of the season, and I think it's something our guys are gonna get pretty excited about here. So I'm pleased with where the team is from a mindset perspective. You certainly look at the division. This is, in my opinion, one of the toughest, if not the toughest division of football. I felt that way for a couple years now. And I think when you look at all 4 of these teams, I think it could be any team could win this thing.
And there's Ben Johnson looking at the playoff picture as the Bears are 5-3. The Packers have 5 wins. The Lions are 5-3. And the Vikings, pulling off an upset against the Lions on the road, moved to 4 wins on the season. So, all right, guys, the floor is yours, Shane. Where's your mind space on, moves the Bears can make? How aggressive do you want Ryan Poles to be? He's made some trades in the past that haven't been perfect. Chase Claypool was obviously a miss. They get Montez Sweat at the trade deadline. He's gotten 3 sacks in his last 3 games, but I think we're all wanting more and more from Montez as we're hoping for more of that pass rush. So where are you at for what the Bears can do here as the trade deadline approaches?
Yeah, listen, you have to turn over every rock because your pass rush is not good enough. And if, like what you just said, if you're 5-3 and you have a chance right now, you have a team that you should beat at home coming in. If you can go out and acquire another pass rusher, and the thing that people fall into the trap too is when you say pass rusher, everybody just automatically assumes that it's going to be an outside guy. Them adding somebody on the inside can help everybody else. You've heard the term force multiplier. It can make your linebackers better. It can make Montez Sweat better. It can make Austin Booker better. It's not going to make Cole Kmet better, Phil. But, that's a whole nother
final
story.
warning between you two.
But no, they have to. And you saw Jalen Phillips in Philly be traded to Philly today, and there was a lot of talk that the Bears had inquired about his, availability and stuff like that. But there's guys out there. You look, I'm looking.
Jones just got traded.
Yeah, to Baltimore. You look at Houston. Is Houston ready to ship off some guys? So then you're looking at a guy like a Danielle Hunter, and that I would be all over if you could
sign him,
if you could bring him in. And there's the Jermaine Johnson thing. He's got the youth on his side, but we'll see. Probably, I think he's still only 24 years old. That's another name that's out there. A name that obviously isn't a pass rusher, but he's going to bring you some, solid play on the interior of your line just because of how big he is Tavondre Sweat in Tennessee is said to be available. I would definitely be inquiring about him because
remember when he tore the Bears a new one? He won it last year.
Yeah.
And that was as a rookie.
100%. So listen, and I'm still not going to be shocked when they make a move. And I'm not saying that it's going to be a big move, but I still think that they're looking at corner to bring somebody in just because, listen, Nashawn Wright on a good team is a 4th or a 5th corner. And last week he was our CB1. Tyreek is still not 100% with the shoulder. So I think that's, they're looking there, but my priority, get the running back stuff out of your brain. If you're a Bears fan, stop with that. You're fine at running back right now. That's
with our guy Kyle Monungai, and where the Bears aren't fine, obviously, with the news today. Yeah, and Britton Brown was fantastic as well. I know you guys were high on him coming out of the preseason. Yeah, no, I mean seriously, the offensive line is also deserves a ton of credit for what they're doing for these running backs. But these running backs, I think, are in a good spot at least for this season. They can survive with who they have because they are talented, and with this O-line doing what they're doing, they certainly I think have enough there. But news came out today. Ben Johnson announced Dayo Odeyingbo out for season with a torn Achilles, and that certainly puts the Bears behind the 8 ball. And so now you're kind of looking at your defensive line because you've had a lot of different injuries on the defensive line. So I'll kind of run through a few different options that are out there, or at least names being thrown about. You've got Quinnen Williams from New York, who's an absolute monster, and the Jets season obviously being toast. You have Bradley Chubb, it's somebody that I keep bringing up as a potential target, from Miami after Miami just jettisoned one of their other, pass rushers as the Eagles, who are always on the phone, pick up Dolphins edge Jalen Phillips for a 2026 third-round pick. And according to Brad Biggs, sounds like the Bears did make some calls to Miami for Phillips. Then you also have, Jeffrey Simmons is a name that I think a lot of Bears fans are intrigued by. Would the Titans be willing to give up that guy who is certainly a game wrecker, a force multiplier, as Shane likes to say? And then, he's on the thumbnail. He's somebody the Bears always talk about. The Bears just played the Bengals yesterday. Trey Hendrickson wasn't out there, thankfully, as the game wrecker that he is. And he's also somebody that I think a lot of Bears fans would be intrigued by.
He's my number one target.
And that was what I was going to dial you up for, Phil. At 31 years old, he's going through some injuries right now with his hip. Is that sway you in any way, or are you pushing your chips all in for Trey Hendrickson? Because Diana Rossini, and we all know how the standoff goes, the staring contest that is trade negotiations, but she's put out there today that the Bengals would want a first-round pick in exchange for Trey Hendrickson. Not saying that that's what it'll end up being. I'm just getting everyone up to date on what the reporting is today.
Yeah, I'm looking for, and I know it's against maybe a lot of people, but I need a veteran savvy edge. What I see the Bears continue to have is try to make somebody be something that they're not. And that's where you get into trouble with Dayo. and others that have come through here under Ryan Poles, it's been very deficient in regards to motor and technique, a finisher. You just haven't seen it there. Montez Sweat, we were excited about, and he kind of hit it into neutral and has woken up somewhat these past couple weeks, like you put it, but there needs to be some savvy edge defender. And I'm not against adding a D tackle like you guys, like Shane's talking about, but there's such a need at defensive end that understands how to set the edge, bend, and finish. And Hendrickson is outstanding. His motor never stops. He'd be the kind of piece that would be a leader, not just a talker. He would lead by example, and he's a finisher. I'm not afraid of the hip injury as long as you are checking it out and you get it. I'm obviously not giving up a first-round pick. There's going to be more than one pick that we're going to give up for him. I'm not giving up my first, but that would be my first and foremost. I like Chubb as well, and he fits what I'm looking for. Opposite Sweat.
And when you say that, yeah, what do you mean by that with Bradley Chubb?
He also has an understanding because he's a quality edge rusher. He understands how to play the game and finish. A lot of these guys that we see going into the Bears have been inconsistent. You're looking at traits. Oh, this guy's got a lot of length. He showed some signs. Chubb has done it. Hendrickson has done it. It's on film. They're bullies. They finish. They have the opportunity to do that. Like, there's a guy out there on the Colts again, Kwity Paye. He's got a lot of upside. But again, that's like you're trying to roll the dice that he wakes up. He hasn't done it. Where those kind of edge defenders, you have to have an understanding. I thought they dropped the ball by not getting a veteran edge rusher last offseason that's going to, even a Jadeveon Clowney would have added something to this defense that is a consistent veteran who gets what his role is and can use a motor and finish. Just hasn't happened here. Opposite. And I know Austin Booker went out there. He had a great few rushes. He had a couple rushes that were very good. But, he's he's got a high upside, but he hasn't done it. It's only going to help him.
Yeah, it was a good first showing for Austin Booker. He had the forced fumble, even on those last couple plays as we were running through the simulation of the Washington Commanders Hail Mary. On those last two plays, yes, they got to midfield, but even on a three-man rush, I thought he made some noise. And then on the final play where Dennis Allen did dial up a little more heat than Matt Eberflus did last year, you saw Austin Booker, kind of disrupt over there on his side. So that was very encouraging to see.
Absolutely. There's some hope there, but now you have another injury in that room.
Yep.
So
yeah, you lost Shamar Turner, who was somebody that was starting to become an option on the outside. Dominique Robinson's injured right now. You lose Dayo Odeyingbo, who they've had on the outside. They've moved to the inside. And then Grady Jarrett's dealing with a knee injury that I think is going to be something he has to work through all year. Shane, you're typically someone that I like to go to when it comes to trade compensation, because I just kind of look at the players. I don't think about the draft equity. I don't think about the consequences. I just want good players. But you kind of always look at things through a general manager's kind of perspective. And I know you've been hard on the guy at the bottom of our screen, Ryan Poles, at times. So I guess my question to you is,
he makes it easy.
What I guess my question to you is, with Trey Hendrickson and the standoff of what you would give up for compensation, where are you at with this? How do you see this playing out, or who is the target that you could get for a reasonable amount of draft equity?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not buying the first round pick. There's nobody giving up a first round pick for Trey Hendrickson. I think that's Cincinnati trying to negotiate through the media, you know what I mean, and try to get try to get somebody that's going to bite on that. You got a guy that's 31 years old. I don't see anybody giving up a first-round draft pick for him. So, I mean, at that point, now is there somebody that will give up a 2? There you go. Or is it a 3+? And is it a 3 and a player? That's the range that you're talking about. Is it like a 2 and a 5, and you get a 4 back in Trey Hendrickson? So there's it may. I think Phil just brought that up. It might be, it could be a pick plus.
I'm fine with a pick plus. I think
it just first rounder. No, I mean it's that if they're demanding a first round pick for Trey Hendrickson, I'm out. You cannot trade a first round draft pick for a 31-year-old pass rusher.
Where you go all in on first round is Myles Garrett.
Yeah, if Myles Garrett's available,
or Max Crosby.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, those two players are worth multiple. This is when you go all in. You got the rookie quarterback that's your franchise. He's the best player on the team. It's not even close. It's hilarious, these Bears fans thinking that he is the real deal. He's growing as the coach is growing. So now's the opportunity to put the chips in. And a Myles Garrett is a game changer. It's just, if you get him, the whole defense becomes a Super Bowl caliber defense with the force that he brings. Everybody gets
all of
changes
those,
the whole dynamic of all
of those plays that you see that when you're just about there, that's Myles Garrett's already getting up off the ground after sacking the quarterback.
And Max Crosby. The two of those players are Super Bowl focused, like a playoff run focused.
And I would put Jeffrey Simmons in there. He's that.
Yeah, he is too.
He's that good.
There's nobody in the draft that are going to be Simmons, Garrett, or Crosby. You're not going to find that guy. Yep. So that's where you have to understand, I'm giving up an asset like that for future because of the quarterback contract too.
Especially because, like, I see Frank Hacks in the chat, and I've seen some different people bring this up on Twitter, and he says, left tackle, please trade for a left tackle if possible. Caleb keeps running because the pocket keeps collapsing. And I've seen 100%. People bring up, like, you saw Joe Alt go out for the Chargers, who are still competing for something, and people have put out the suggestion of, would you trade Braxton Jones for Khalil Mack? And on its surface, as fun as that sounds, the Bears still need Braxton Jones. You saw the struggles Theo Benedict has had over the last couple games, and injuries clearly aren't hiding from the Bears. So I think left tackle is going to be something that the Bears are going to look very hard at in the first round of this year's NFL draft. And I know some
Are you sure? Are you sure?
Yeah, well, we never know with polls, and certainly with Ben Johnson in the fold. I know some people want Jeremiah Love, and
there's no left tackle to be traded for.
Well,
so he dropped the ball in what he did in the draft. We were right about that again.
Yeah, well, but real quick, like, so in that, let's say in that hypothetical, they are looking at left tackle in the draft. Then it makes it even harder to find your pass rusher of the future once you start getting into the second round and later. So to your guys' point, trying to bring in someone like you did with Montez Sweat, get ahead of the free agent market. That's probably going to be slim pickings for any kind of premier pass rusher. Get ahead of your draft decisions and make this move now. And my big criteria is, because I still feel like the Bears are on the outside looking in of a true playoff picture when you talk about, can this team compete for it with the amount of injuries they're sustaining and the work in progress that still is Ben Johnson's Bears in their first year doing this. I'm trying to keep reasonable expectations. So if you're going to make a trade, it can't just be for a rental or with the mindset of what they're doing this year. It has to be a move that's going to be over the next 3 or 4 years. So if you're telling me that Trey Hendrickson, even at 31, can be a game record for the next 3 years, then I'll buy it. But at 31 years old, I can understand why some Bears would be nervous about that. But I think we all understand the talent that he would bring to this locker room, and they certainly could use that. We have some different comments from the chat before we take a break. This will be a little bit of an extended CHGO Bears After Dark because I know we're going to have a hearty, lengthy conversation about where Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson are at here at the halfway point of the season. But I've seen some different people. Johnny Wana in the chat says Asante Samuel is a free agent that just got announced here just about an hour or two ago that he's a free agent and somebody that he's going to be taking workouts with teams, and he's already been contacted by some teams, and I think a lot of Bears fans hope they're one of them, but he's not somebody that will fall in line with the trade deadline designation of tomorrow. So that's a name to keep an eye on with the secondary. We see Dr. Horror Show is with you, Shane, saying Tavondre Sweat from Tennessee is intriguing to him. You mentioned secondary help, Reek Woolen from Seattle, I think is somebody people have talked about. And then I like Rodney's comment here. He says, trade for Dave Tobe. After the special.
I don't know how this guy has a job today.
And then finally from Brawl Sack, my guy, he says, buy out Dayo. Be nice. He just got hurt. Trade a third for Trey Hendrickson and 3 flaming hot grilled cheese burritos. I like your thinking there. Right up my alley. So let's take a quick timeout. We'll continue to carry this Bears conversation over. If any trade news happens while we'll go live, we'll react to it. While we're live, we'll react to it. But plenty of more Bears conversation coming your way. So please hit the like button for Phil and Shane from the Tape Never Lies Network. And we appreciate everyone hanging out here on a Monday night here on CHGO Bears After Dark. Hey guys, want to give a shout out to our good friends over at Shady Rays. Shady Rays has been with CHGO Sports since the very beginning, and we appreciate their support tremendously, and they are changing the game as they always have been. Their sunglasses are made for real life, seriously good looking, they're polarized, durable, most importantly, not stupidly expensive. Hey, here's the thing about sunglasses. Whether you're at a tailgate, you're at the game, or you're at a gas station and you leave your sunglasses, you lose your sunglasses, or you step on them. We've all been there. But here is the wild part about Shady Rays. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, Shady Rays will send you a brand new pair. No guilt trip, just replacements. So now you can wear your sunglasses without fear. So Shady Rays is the eyewear that has your back. We've teamed up with Shady Rays to bring you an exclusive offer. So head to shadyrays.com and use the code CHGO for 35% off polarized sunglasses and try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And also want to take this time to remind everyone here, now is as good a time as ever to become a diehard at CHGO Sports. You head to allchgo.com/diehard to sign up. You get exclusive written content, whether it's from Adam Johns, who puts out fantastic pieces weekly, Adam Hogue, Mark Carman, Patrick Norton. They do an incredible job. They do the Insiders Edition that comes exclusively to diehards only. If you sign up, you get a free shirt as soon as you sign up. We got a huge collection of different shirts available. These were some of the newest ones that dropped here recently. But there are tons of great designs. You get discounts on merchandise, discounts on events like our tailgates, and our draft parties and everything in between. So please sign up to become a diehard. We appreciate your support. We definitely appreciate your support. Here on CHGO Bears After Dark is Jonathan Otten. Comes in with a $20 super chat. Great dude. Brings in and says, just wanted to say how much I love the After Dark show. I'm almost never in the chat, but I always catch it on the podcast. Thanks for a great show week in and week out. I can't wait for this Giants game. Bear down. We appreciate you, Jonathan Otten, and all the credit goes to Shane and Phil, and of course our guy Adam Rank, who's got a very busy schedule, so he wasn't able to join us here tonight as he's calling some college basketball. His college basketball season is underway, but we look forward to him returning to the program. But all the credit to these guys working hard, you know.
And he is at the Dodgers parade. My bad.
And Shane might be at the Dodgers parade. Shout out to Shane. Did 2 After Dark shows while his Dodgers were in the World Series. So I'll be nice to him. People
almost didn't survive. think about my 18-hour window there yesterday. Sports World.
That was a
Game
wild
7
finish.
and then that
Jeez.
football game. Yeah,
it was a wild finish. People were asking in the chat, how is Shane a Dodgers fan? Well, his dad, he's born and raised in upstate New York. His dad was a diehard Dodgers fan, and
Brooklyn Dodgers
with the Brooklyn Dodgers originally, and so that's how Shane was born into that family. So he's a real fan, and be nice to him. And hey, the Dodgers took out the Brewers.
I don't need you to be nice to me. Best team in baseball.
I'm gonna be nice. You know what? It's hard to be nice. Like, it's very hard to be nice to you. I'm trying to actively be nice to you, and you're still rubbing it in. This is just how it is.
Imagine if this was the Cubs coming off the World Series. I'm sure Greg would be.
Adam would have a great analogy if he was. I mean, Shane is like the guy that goes over to the all-you-can-eat buffet and asks for lobster. I mean, that's what he is.
I got to give Rank when the Angels lost Ohtani. I think Rank was on the air. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna miss Shohei, but it's Ippei. It's his interpreters. That's the guy that I'm gonna miss." That worked out well.
Yeah. I did have some people here asking, what time the trade deadline is. The trade deadline tomorrow is at 3 p.m. Central, but the Bears can make a move at any given moment. So make sure you're got your notifications on here for CHGO Sports, because we will be going live immediately when news breaks, as we always do. So let's get into this, guys. Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson, always the conversation. How is this marriage, going? What were we going to expect this season? And now, in the blink of an eye, we're halfway through the season here at 5-3. Really, there is no true halfway point of the season anymore because of the 17-game schedule. So less than half, still a little bit. But at the same time, I'll let Dan Wiederer kind of set the floor of the conversation, because this is something he's been doing over the last couple of years. And he calls it the midseason progress report. And these were statistical checkpoints set before the season. And these are Caleb's on pace for number through week 9. And for those of you listening here on the audio, I'll share that with you. Passing yards, he's on pace for more than what he had last year at 3,540. He's on pace right now for 4,072. Passing touchdowns, he had 22 last year. He's on pace for 26. Turnover totally at 11 last year. Right now, he's on pace for 9. Explosive completions, 20 yards or more. He had 42 last year. Right now, he's on pace for 60. Sack rate, a big one, a big number last year after 68 sacks from Caleb Williams. His sack rate percentage last year, 8.2%. He's on pace for 5.2%. That is a dramatic drop. Shout out to Caleb Williams for that. I don't think it gets talked about enough. Interception rate, 2.1% last year. He's on pace for 1.6% this year. Pretty impressive when you consider how limited turnovers he had last year with everything going on. Passer rating was at 92 last year. This year he's on pace for 93.5. Fourth quarter rating last year was at an 88, even after all the great things he did in the fourth quarters last year. This year, his fourth quarter rating is at a 98.4 quarterback rating. Third down conversion rate last year, 39%. It's at 43% this year. And then this is the only one where the percentage has kind of gone down from last year. Team red zone rate was at 58% last year, and now it's at 52%. So I know that's a mouthful, but I wanted to make sure the audio listeners could kind of share in what we're kind of discussing here. But we'll start with Ben Johnson, and then we'll move to Caleb Williams and some audio of Ben's thoughts on where Caleb is. But when you see those stats, Phil, what are you thinking? Because it's pretty damn impressive from where I stand.
Yeah, it goes along with the tape. That's what we were trying to tell everybody when they were 2 weeks ago calling this guy a bust. And Dallas game, he's player of the week. We just continued to see the growth. It's a team game, so it's ultimately looking at situational football as well as your quarterback and how he has to go through what he is having to deal with here in Chicago. The ups and downs of the offensive line and the Theo Benedict and Braxton Jones and the pass rush and the receivers, all of that stuff as well as learning a new language and new play sheets and a play caller. All of that is happening, and he's just obviously all those boxes are checked, but one, which is really a team stat at the bottom. And it just showcases what it is matching up with the tape. The guy is an accurate passer. The guy does things that no other quarterback I've ever seen do. And when it matters most in critical situations, Greg, I'm telling you, yesterday after they let up the touchdown and you're like, oh my God, I literally was like, this dude's going to bring us down. Now I got to worry if it's going to be Cairo, is what I said, but I know he's bringing us down to win this. And he did it in a different fashion than we've ever seen. It felt like I was watching Jets, Dolphins, 1986, and they're just going up and down the field. It was a crazy game, but the growth of Caleb Williams, and this is happening with Rome Odunze dropping a lot of passes and really not looking where I would hoped he would be. So for Caleb to be where he is right now is exactly where I would have hoped for him to be. And he is there. So I'm happy about that. I'm also happy. I thought Ben called a better situational game with the quarterback. So I see that kind of connection, the action game, the boot, the ability to run that you're giving the quarterback and to run the ball like that. You know, I thought he got away from it before, but I'm really excited about where Caleb is and shout out to Dan to put those together. It just goes along with what I'm seeing on the tape and what I keep showing our patrons. Like, guys, don't listen to the noise. Let's look at the tape, and Caleb is not the problem. And it's showcased right there. And you walk away hoping they grow from it. And I think they continue to do that.
All right. As I got to ban Jerry here from the chat since he's in
God.
his emotions. He's gone. But to your point about not blinking, I was ready to jump off our balcony as we were doing a live watch along when the Bears blew that lead. And I did still think they could get in field goal position. I was in the same boat as you, had zero confidence that Cairo Santos was going to make that kick. Little did we know that Caleb Williams was going to throw his best pass of his career in the biggest moment to Colston Loveland. What a throw that was. What a run after the catch from your top 10 pick and that tight end outrunning the Bengals secondary to get to the end zone. But to your point, Phil, look at this picture of Caleb Williams walking onto the field after the Bears had blown the lead. So Caleb knew what you knew, Phil. And there's that cold as ice water in his veins mentality. Yeah. You can say a lot about Caleb Williams, but he doesn't blink in those kind of moments.
He told his teammates that he's going to take them down. He told them that when they were walking out. But that pass that you just said, Greg, does Cole Kmet? What does Cole Kmet do on that play? Seriously,
as much. And I love Cole Kmet, but there's no secret. You know, he's been a teammate here at CHGO Sports. But yes, Colston Loveland.
I'm not sure he catches it.
Yeah, well, all right. Just relax, okay?
I'm serious.
That's fine. I'm not going to force you to love Cole Kmet. You guys have been critical of him, and that's fair criticism. That's totally in bounds of, you know, how we look at the game and analyze the game.
He falls right there.
Let's
just be honest.
Cole Kmet's not getting in the end zone the way Colston Loveland. In fact, very few tight ends in this league are able to do what Colston Loveland did after the catch on that play, and that's why he was warranted as a top 10 pick, and he showed it on full display there. But man, Caleb Williams, like that was the most impressive throw of his career, Shane. It's not even close in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's debatable. I really do. I think that Phil and I could point to a couple in Detroit that were amazing that Rome Odunze just happened to drop that were,
oh my God,
insane. I mean, I would put him.
No other quarterback in the league could make these.
I would put it above the completion to Loveland yesterday. I would, but yeah, it was it was what you want. Those are the types of plays that make you the number one pick. And I know
real quick, and I hate to cut you off, but things are moving fast here tonight. So I just want to remind everybody to become a diehard here at CHGO Sports as we reach the top of the hour on CHGO Bears After Dark. Head to allchgo.com/diehard to sign up as we reach overtime. Okay,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Shane just sent me the coach's angle.
Oh, it's not even close.
Take a victory lap and come right back. Can I do that or no? Because it's pathetic. Adam Archuleta. Can I call people out, Greg? Or
call people out? Sure, go ahead.
Adam Archuleta, Sylvie on ESPN. You're pathetic. Seriously, what you're doing to this young quarterback, saying this is hospital ball. It is, Greg. I'm so right, and I can't wait. In fact, I might just do it tomorrow. Go live and just break down this play that I just feel is so unfair to do to a quarterback, to give him that label and give it that ammunition and say that he's the reason that Cole got hurt. I've been around football my whole life. I saw it live and like, oh my God, that's on the tight end. What are you falling for? Why aren't you just catching and running? Why are you stopping? And
well, let's all right. I get it, and I know you're
exactly what I've said, Greg.
Well, I would just say let's not get. That's fine. Let's just not.
No?
What's that?
Carm as well said that too.
So I don't know Carm. I don't know
Carm as well. Apparently,
Carm from Carmen and Yurko.
Adam Archuleta should be fired today for what he said and his bias. Like, no. Like he's rooting against the touchdown there, let alone what he did to Caleb. He was worse than Troy Aikman, Greg.
Well, I was watching the game on a muted TV because we did a live watch along for the first time this year. So I didn't get to hear the broadcast. I heard some people had some gripes with that, but let's get back on track a little bit. I know I know you're really looking at that throw and the criticism, that someone put out.
He texted me and Cap.
All right, that's fine. But let's get back on track here a little bit because there were a couple other stats being thrown out that I wanted to share. And I know somebody asked, why am I reading these slowly? Well, it's because I'm stupid. So you're just going to have to bear with me. But since week 3 of the regular season, the Bears are just on a roll here, man. First in turnover per play, 5th in sack rate as a team, 7th in EPA per play, 4th in yards per play in the NFL, 2nd in explosive play rate. These are all from Nate Tice, so shout out to him. But just some different stats to look at that are just highlighting just where this Bears team is right now. And you've got to give Ben Johnson a ton of credit because as we talked about earlier, there's still so much room for growth, still so much untapped potential, and they are trending right now and statistically a team that can say they're one of the top offensive teams in the NFL. So now turning the corner and looking at it through the lens of Caleb Williams, let's hear from Ben Johnson because everybody kind of keeps trying to dissect where Caleb Williams is and is he living up to Ben Johnson's, high standards and the reputation that precedes him coming from Detroit and his 70 touchdowns he had with the Lions last year and what he's doing with Chicago. And I think a lot of us, including the 3 of us on this program, kind of anticipated any offensive success kind of getting geared and credited towards Ben Johnson and not towards Caleb Williams. But Ben had some things to say on where Caleb Williams is at in this offense and what Ben is liking from what he's seeing from Caleb. So here is Ben talking about that.
What did you see about him in the pocket upon further review? I know you had offered yesterday that he didn't throw a pick, but that you wanted to take a look at everything else.
Yeah, no, there's a number of things that I was pretty pleased with. It's looking more like I want it to look, that he wants it to look like. I can think of one particular instance off the top of my head before halftime where call play, and they end up clouding it to the side of the primary. So that's not there. He gets through his progression and quickly dumps the ball to the back as he's stepping up in the pocket. Now, we didn't throw our best ball. It was a little bit high and we didn't haul it in, but that to me was what we want this quarterback to look like as he's playing within the timing and the rhythm of the offense and trusting his feet to take him through the progression. So something for us to build on. There's a couple that we can continue to clean up, and I think he's starting to play faster. The more reps we're getting on some of these concepts, he's understanding the intent, the coverages that we're really looking to get. And, if we're not getting those coverages, can we quickly get to number 2 or number 3 or even look to run with that ball? So it's coming along nicely.
There is Ben Johnson. It's coming along nicely, Shane. You wouldn't know that by some of the analysts kind of nitpicking every single thing Caleb Williams does after he throws 3 touchdowns, has a receiving touchdown, 280 yards passing, 350 total yards, leads a game-winning touchdown drive at the end, no turnovers.
But we're going to talk about Joe Flacco.
Oh yeah,
in every post game.
It's not just the experts. We should do an entire show on the DMs that we get play by play from the Twitter geniuses that are criticizing every single aspect of everything with Caleb Williams. The way that he walks onto the field, every single throw, it's crazy. And then he makes a great throw and they're back in love with him and he's the greatest thing ever. He
makes a great throw, but it's against the 32nd ranked defense.
But listen, there's going to be bumps in the road along the way. That's the NFL. That's sports. That's the way that it happens. It is what it is. Caleb needs to be better, just like Ben Johnson needs to be better, just like Theo Benedict needs to be better. Montez Sweat, Jaquan Brisker needs to be a lot better. There's a lot of that going around. Rome Odunze. I mean, is Rome Odunze catching flack for being 78th in the league in contested catch percentage? Has anybody said it? No.
Well, he has gotten some criticism, but I understand. I understand the point you're trying to make.
Look what Aditi said after the game yesterday to Caleb and Colston Loveland. She's like, "Do you think things will quiet down a little bit for your quarterback this week?" No, it won't.
And she also added in Bears fans too, which I was like, "Hey,
that's the thing. There's very little difference between Bears fans and the people that cover the Bears professionally, because they're all dramatic teenagers at the end of the day when they're analyzing the game." And
100%.
That's
never seen
the
anything
sad fact.
Swayed to negativity because they know the negativity sells, and it's unfortunate. I just will never kowtow to that. I just want the truth, and if that's what you want, then come follow me, because that's what you're gonna get. I don't have to be right. I'm able to be wrong, but what I see on the field, I'm going to analyze it and tell you the truth. And the last thing I ever worried about going into the season, even after the first game when we were there live, Greg, Caleb was the last thing I was worried about. I know what the talent is, and I know what it is to coach. And I believe Ben is on the right path. Everything he's doing, he's growing. Now, has he been perfect? No. Has Caleb been perfect? No. Has any quarterback? Ask yourself. 2 weeks ago, they're crowning Green Bay and their quarterback as the second coming. It's just 2 weeks ago. This was what we were talking about. Come on. Now, has it changed? Like, this is
so. Greg, let me ask you this: if Caleb Williams right now was having the exact season that Drake May was having, what would be the narrative in the league? Do you think that it would be changed for Caleb?
Yeah, the narrative, you'd see a lot more of who they've played this season.
100%.
And you know what else they'd be focused on?
100%.
So Drake May started 13 games last year. He got sacked 34 times last year.
Right.
Right now they're 7-2. He's been sacked 34 times this year already. It would be not sustainable. You can't do this. You're going to get hurt. You got to be better. You got to cut down on the sacks. All of that nonsense.
Well, and yeah, just as we said it last year, as Caleb, commendably, 68 sacks, played all 17 games, which was the first time a Bears quarterback had done that in 2 decades, essentially. But we also were saying, hey, credit to toughen it through the whole season, but that's not sustainable. Right. And so the same should be said for Drake May taking that many sacks. That being said, he obviously is having an outstanding season and has delivered some amazing throws throughout the run, and you don't apologize
by
for
the way,
wins.
I see the comment from Phil's guy, Jesse Dumb. Drake May's not 7-2. The Patriots are 7-2. That's the way that the NFL game is played. It's a team stat. It's not a quarterback stat, unless you want to pick and choose and be a jackass. You know what I mean? That's the way that works.
Yep. Well, and you saw it last night, right? I mean, Jaden Daniels was Rookie of the Year, and that was the quarterback last year that Bears fans were getting hit over the head with a mallet every week about how they didn't take Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams. And hey, I certainly am wishing him nothing but the best. That elbow injury last night was absolutely brutal. And I feel for him, and I honestly, feel for Commanders fans, as annoying as they are, because nobody wants that for your franchise quarterback. That being said, that was one of the concerns of him coming out of college, was could he sustain hits, especially with the way he plays the quarterback position. And now, yes, he's an extremely talented quarterback, and you can pick nits on how much the Bears should have evaluated all the different quarterbacks more. But the reality is, Caleb Williams is ascending under Ben Johnson, and now Jaden Daniels, who had a bunch of different injuries this year, is out for the season. And
how many games has he missed?
He's missed a few this year, and now he's probably
last year and this year. The criticism was righteous, and that's why you passed on the football player. We talked about it on tape. It wasn't even close. And the reality was in the pudding. There was negligence last year. You don't look at records. You look at the performance and the growth. What I had to deal with was atrocious last year.
And I think my point of it all, though, is nobody. It's not picking on Jaden Daniels to say this, but now that they're 3-6, they haven't had a great year, and he's been injured, and now he's out for a year. You're not seeing anybody saying or beating Washington fans over the head with a mallet that, like, hey, you picked the wrong quarterback. You should have taken Drake May, or anyone giving the Bears credit. Hey, looks like they got this right.
But that's the thing, Greg. You went from, oh my God, you passed on CJ Stroud. How could you do that? To, oh my God, you passed on Jaden Daniels.
Correct.
How could you do that? Now it's, oh my God, you passed on Drake May. How could you do that? I mean, I've seen redrafts where they have Bo Nix going. We'll see how all this washes out.
Yeah, we definitely will.
I wouldn't trade Caleb for any of them. None of them. We have the right guy, and the coach is here because of that guy. Let's not get that twisted.
I did see somebody here in the chat, a little wasted, saying non-throwing arm out for season. I would imagine so, with how brutal that was. And I also
obviously that person's never dislocated their elbow and played in the NFL.
The replay was absolutely excruciating.
Here's some breaking news: you use both arms as a quarterback.
Yeah, but I also think, regardless, let's say
he might come back.
Let's say he could come back. My whole point is that why would you, with the state of where the team is likely to be here in the next month? So I think it's easy to say that he's out for a year with the injury clear that he sustained. And then I also think from the team perspective, but just going back to Caleb Williams.
And if you're out of it, why would you bring him back?
That's my point. You're right. Absolutely. So just going back to Caleb Williams, though, I think the one thing I don't know, Phil, I understand we are all big in on Caleb Williams, and I know you guys have certainly been very critical of analysts that are too hard on Caleb Williams, but to try to get you to get on the other side of the coin, because from what I saw yesterday, that I think is I continue to say it is the most encouraging thing about Caleb Williams, about Ben Johnson, and about this offense is it's still not even close to what the standard should be. And that excites me. He did everything he did yesterday, dropped 47 points and had this insane touchdown at the end.
NFL record, by the way.
Right.
We're not even talking about that.
All the stuff, right? But at the same time, when I watch the game, I'm like, man, there's so much that he needs to clean up, so much Rome has to clean up, Cole has to clean up. There's so much still untapped potential. So I guess my question to you is, when you watch the game yesterday and you see him flushed out of the pocket so many times, and I know Theo Benedict had a rough day at the office, but what are you seeing from Caleb Williams now that we're at the halfway point of the season that he still needs to improve on to reach a whole nother level of what he's capable of?
His feet. It's pretty easy.
I look at him honestly, and I love what I see. I know the chaos that is the line. So I think it's unfair how you absolutely see this guy. And it's, from my point of view, I'm much in line with Matt Waldman. I know he was a guest with you guys. Caleb does things that no other quarterback can do, and you don't want to put a leash on that. What you want to do is not get away from the run game and put it all on him having to create, and then you get out of what you do. And I think everything that Coach Johnson is doing is putting it into 3 or 5 different chapters, and you gotta align those plays with the talent that you have. And I think he's been let down here in Chicago in year 1. I don't think anybody could argue that. That's why I get so upset, Greg, because everybody just skips over. Well, he's the first over. He should overcome Waldron and Eberflus and all these things that came out that were so negligent. And he still put up those numbers as a rookie with those low interceptions. To me, I know Shane has said it before, that's the benchmark for greatness, to be in that chaos. Now you have a guy that has these lanes that he's driving in as a head coach, learning the job again, and a great play caller. You have to find out who you are as the coach and hold that level to a standard, and then rely on these other coaches to help get the message across and stick with it. And I think he's doing a great job of that. And I think Caleb has been way better than advertised, way better than everyone's talked about. It's like a weekly thing. Everyone talking crap about him after a game, win or lose, and then they go to the tape and wait a second, Caleb really played. Again, what are we cleaning up? Okay,
it's not even that everybody goes to the tape, Phil. It's very few go to the tape,
few.
Sadly.
But I'm saying the good people go to the tape and say, Kurt Warner comes out and is like, wait a second, the criticism shouldn't be that. Look what he did. Because there's 6 free runners in a row. There's a series.
All right, but you were about to get there, Phil. So the things that he needs to clean up. You started with take the checkdowns. What else?
Sometimes you're going to take the check down. He had to clean up. Use your feet. When there's a situation that you don't need to go out and run the side and wait for someone to get open. The scramble drill is a 2-way relationship, Greg. The receivers have to get in line with this and understand, wait, you got an immense talent here. You can be all the way backside running a fade and now drag it all the way across the field and be prepared that this ball might come to you. So you got to get all of that aligned. Where Caleb has to be better is in those little progressions of, okay, I'm just going to take the check down. I'm not going to alleviate here. I also don't want to put a leash on him, because when he does alleviate, he creates big plays down the field with his arm or his throw. I think we were very critical, and then he came out and said, I got to run the ball more. However he said it, I'm paraphrasing. And he did. And he made the biggest play that's overlooked, that scramble before the throw,
where Theo Benedict immediately
whiffs. Like, this is what he's dealing with.
It's funny watching that replay because Theo immediately gets beat. Yeah. Caleb spins left. Mm-hmm. Then he steps up, pushes right, goes back to the right side, and that's where he ends up getting his yards. But the whole time watching Theo is he knows he got beat, and now he's just trying to like position his body in a way, because now Caleb has completely saved him, and it goes from what could have been any other quarterback of 8 yards and turns into a 15-yard gain. It was an unbelievable play,
bro, and that happens in the game like 4 times that people don't appreciate. Even the commentator, that's why I said he should be fired. Oh, he should have took the check down. There's a free runner at him. He had to drop and become a runner and escape that guy. How is he seeing the check down? Unless he's a statue like Drew Bledsoe and the free runner's coming and he's 6'6" and drops it down. Okay, I could just blindly drop that down. It's not his game. Get used to it. What he's doing out there is outstanding, and some of the things that he was being criticized for, the drop fade over the top to DJ Moore was a perfect ball. I mean, come on. Yep. This is what he could do. He could get a little more touch on it, be a little bit more confident.
It was nice to see when he rolled out left and hit Colston Loveland coming across.
Took a little off the ball.
Yeah, it was nice to see the accuracy on point there, because that's something that's kind of been up and down when he's on the move, especially to his left like that. I agree. I thought he took a little off of it than what we've seen this year. So Shane, I guess
one other big thing he's got to correct, because you want to know correct, and this is from me. Action game has to be better with him and his running backs. They got to come in and get the mesh point fake. He was outstanding in college at this. His ball movement, his ball play, I know that'll be a clip or a drop, has to be better.
It's been lazy.
Putting the ball in there, be a little bit more of an actor with him. Bounce, get down, and you're just going to get people more open, especially with how your running backs are running aggressive like this. And that's on Ben to be, and his quarterback coaches to really assert, get this action game better. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I get it. And that's why I knew this was going to be an extended show tonight. So Shane, just to kind of, as we're kind of rounding third here, and I know we talked a little bit earlier about, Caleb, but just bringing you into this, like, where, like, I guess I'll start with this. When Phil brings up the scramble drill, that scramble drill is broken to me, like, for the Bears. They have not ran the scramble drill well. And so now I'm trying to dissect the why on that, because there was a couple times yesterday that he scrambles, he's rolling left, all of a sudden now he's going right. And then when he finally uncorks it after 10 to 12 seconds, the one thing I'll say a few times, the wide receivers are still covered by their DBs. And I'm like, how is this possible? There's no way that these DBs should be sticking that long. And so I guess trying to be fair to the wide receivers real quick on this is part of the problem with the scramble drill is because you don't know which way Caleb's going to go when he spins out of the pocket. Sometimes he'll start spinning left and then go right. So, like, how are the receivers and Caleb supposed to get on the same page when Caleb is just kind of so he's elusive, but it's so unpredictable where he's going to end up?
Well, it's got to go off in your head, because I mean, everything in the NFL is based off of timing. And if you're running a route and you're like, what, there's nothing there. It's just like Phil and I talk every week about the Bears DBs not turning their head, on deep balls. It rarely ever happens. But the problem, Phil cracked the door open for you there, Greg, to tell you the issue with the scramble drill is because when it breaks down, listen, you got to get your head around and see it, but then you have to work your way back. You become the quarterback's best friend by doing that. Odunze is not doing that at all. Not only do you want to create separation in your route, you want to create separation when you're working your way back to the quarterback to give him something clean to throw to. DJ Moore, all of these guys need to be better with that. And all of them, for years, the Bears offense, I've always called it the post-up offense, because the guys run their route and they stop and their back is to the end zone where they're going, and they're just staring at the quarterback right there. They catch the ball and they get tackled and go down.
It feels like that's why Olamide has been targeted so much, because I think he's the one guy, especially coming from Washington last year,
And
that
Philadelphia is another
Philly.
place that they teach all of that stuff. So Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, they create that separation.
I thought Burden does a good job of
Right.
it. He's the one guy watching, and it's unfortunate. Sorry to jump in there, that he was concussed, because I felt like he was starting to hit he was starting to hit his stride here in regards to where he needs to go and how he needs to run his routes. And unfortunately, he went out like that. But Shane is 100% right. As a receiver, as a former receiver, we ran the run and shoot. If quarterbacks scramble, you have to understand football acumen and work your way to get open. If it's zone, then you know your landmarks of where you got to go. If you know the routes, then you get to the landmark and make yourself available. They're just not doing a good enough job of that.
This is where the contested catch rate with Rome is a massive factor. 78th. And I haven't even looked it up. So 100%, it's lower than that now after his game yesterday.
And that's the biggest surprise. And again, just trying to spin it positively, but there's Rome's had a very good year, and there's this part that
positive to it. There's not.
But to me, there is, because I do believe it's within him. I can't explain why the contested catches haven't translated the way it clearly was for him in college.
Yeah.
But when we interviewed a guy that covered his entire career, at Washington, and he called him a contested catch god.
Greg, he was third in the NFL in 2024.
So that's where I do spin it positive, because I do believe it's within him. And for whatever reason, it hasn't happened this year. And even that being said, he's had an outstanding year. And again, going back to the untapped potential we still have with Ben Johnson's offense or Caleb Williams, there's untapped potential with Rome Odunze. He can make these catches. He can
I agree
absolutely.
with you. He's got it.
And I'm not saying that he can't, but he's got it. Listen, he's got to be locked in. Like I said,
he's got to get on the jugs and really understand hand strength.
We brought it up earlier in the show when the Bears were in Detroit. We were live on After Dark talking about it on some of those throws, and you said, "Oh, you can't make that throw there." Well, he did, and it hit him in the hands. 45 yards downfield on a frozen rope, and Rome Odunze, a top 10 pick. He's had a good year. He's also been consistent at dropping footballs.
Yep. The one thing, and I agree, and it should always be called out, but I also think the other side of the coin is, when you are one of the top wide receivers in football, what comes with that is you will typically be at the top of the leaderboard in drops in a year. I'm not excusing it, but it is a fact. If you look at the league leaders in drops last year, number one was CeeDee Lamb. Keenan Allen wasn't too far down that list, because he was the most targeted player on the Bears last year, and with more targets means there's going to be more drops. Now, does that make, him dropping a touchdown yesterday excusable? No, but they do work hand in hand. More targets means you are going to have more drops.
Right. No, I understand it. But if I told you yesterday pre-show, like you and I talked yesterday morning, if I said, Greg, they're going to score 47 today and Rome's going to have 0 catches, what would you have said to me?
I get it. Again, that excites me.
You would have said, "How's my mom?" And you're insane. That's what you would have said.
But again, that makes me excited. Hey, everybody wanted him to go other places. Now, I don't think people said, "Well, let's get other people involved and have Rome drop touchdowns." Nobody was saying that, but at the same time, it was great to see them have that kind of offensive output, and it wasn't all to Rome Odunze, because it just shows that I think they're going to
put Coach Gravy's comment up there.
Well, we're gonna get going here soon,
right? Just real quick.
That's
Kerry Franklin.
Which one? Because he's been yelling at you guys for like 30 minutes.
His last one. That does the make. Oh, my bad.
Oh, okay.
Making does that make throwing the ball behind him excusable? The ball was tipped.
The ball was tipped and it's in his hands. Catch the ball. If you're a coach, you hit your hands, catch the ball.
Well, and you saw in Colston Loveland's final touchdown pass, both things can be true. Can Caleb Williams throw guys in stride more consistently? Yes. That's something that Ben Johnson has said he wants to see more accuracy out of Caleb Williams. But also, there, as Adam Hogue said many times here over the last couple of weeks, as this debate is raged on, the wide receivers and receiver targets, not just wide receivers, they have to bail out your quarterback too. They have to make plays on the football. Not every pass is going to be perfect. And to highlight that, Colston Loveland on the final play of the game, that was thrown behind him, but that is a perfect pass in that moment. You can't ask for anything more out of Caleb Williams to drop that in between 3 and 4 defenders. Colston gathers it behind him and now makes a play. And so that's where at times Caleb's going to bail his receivers out and the receivers have to bail Caleb out and everyone's got to make plays. And in the final moment, Colston and Caleb were able to do that. But that ball was behind him. But yet Colston found a way to not only make the catch, but then break the tackles and then outrun everyone. And that's what big time players do. So
and he dropped Cole Kmet's perfect pass right in his chest as well. Just for
and Caleb
the very first play of the game, he hits Cole Kmet down the seam. Cole doesn't need to even dive for it, and he dives and still drops it. Very first play of the game.
Well, and Caleb's trying to show him how
right here in front of me. Right now.
Caleb's trying to show him how it's done because he's 2 for 2 with his catches. He's got 100% catch rate right now as a receiver. So Caleb's
that is melting down.
Sandlin is right. If Caleb throws Colston open, he gets tackled.
I almost made this exact, and Sandlin, you're 100% right. I almost made this point on Twitter earlier.
Doesn't wrap up.
The irony of that throw is if he throws it in stride, then it changes the trajectory of the DBs behind him. Because it was thrown behind, it made battle
like a pinball.
Yeah.
The guy doesn't wrap up. Stone pushes him forward.
That's
like
just
the greatest
fate, right?
gods of football.
Yeah, that's just ironic fate there.
They didn't, but the one, wait until it, Phil, you wait until you see. When I was here pre-show, I brought it up. You wait until you see the first pass of the game from Caleb to Cole down the seam. It's there for a massive game. Yeah. He dives.
He doesn't. This guy jumps more than Michael Jordan. He doesn't need to. Just run through it and catch
Michael Cooper.
Cooper just set shot.
All right, we got to wrap this up. We went a little extended.
We didn't even put Kerry Franklin's beautiful home run, Phil and Shane and Greg show.
Yep. We appreciate you.
Hit a grand slam with us.
Yep. Kerry is I appreciate everyone tuning in. I absolutely
did. Carm pass out when Tyson got on the field yesterday?
Oh God. Well, we have a live watch along, so you can see Carm's reaction in that moment. We actually shared.
I'm not watching that.
Yeah, no. Well, maybe you should because you'll hear me screaming. The last 4 minutes are very comical because you can see me contemplating death and then brought back to life there. So great game. Back to a victory Monday. Bears have won 5 of their last 6 games as they move to 5-3 on the season and look to take down the Giants here at Soldier Field. Make sure you come out to our tailgate here on Sunday. Again, go to allchgo.com/events for that. Stay tuned tomorrow. Just be on the lookout. Right now, tentatively, we are scheduled to go live at 3 p.m. Central as the trade deadline ends right at 3 p.m. Central. But if any breaking news happens before that, we will be going live immediately. So turn your notifications on to the channel. We will definitely be providing updates as tonight and tomorrow progresses. If they trade for Trey Hendrickson at 2 a.m. tonight, we will be going live at 2:15 in the morning. I can promise you that. And if it's just me rambling for an hour, that's what you'll get. But I promise you, Hogue and Carmen, everybody.
You'll be in spaces. You know that.
I'll be in spaces for sure.
Daniil Hunter would be a great pickup.
Yep. All right. So I guess final question to you two, and keep it to 3 words or whatever.
Right. 3 words,
please, because we're calling it a night. But Sid asked in the chat, I'm going to start with you, Phil, and then I'll go to you, Shane. Will the Bears be buyers at the deadline? Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes because of the injury now to Dayo. They have to now.
Shane?
Yes, 100%. I think they're going to get 2.
2 guys.
Wow. 2.
Corner and a pass rusher.
Downtown Sam here in the chat said, Greg, I was watching the show, never miss an episode out here in California. I love that the Bears won, of course. I guess I was more critical about the win. Keep up the good work. That's a callback to yesterday.
Shout out to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I thought he played a great game, and I'm happy he's on the team.
Yeah.
Greg.
Cramping up a little bit.
Already made a move here before the trade deadline. So, and he made an impact. He got a sack, was in on the run defense at times.
He made a great effort play in that corner. I mean, you can't. That was just a great catch. You can't defend it any better than he did.
Absolutely. So, let's call it a night here. Go enjoy Monday Night Football if you can.
I can't, Greg.
I know most can't, but I can. So, but we gave you guys a little extended show here tonight as we had a lot to discuss. But appreciate you, Phil and Shane, as always, for all your hard work here on our Monday nights on CHGO Bears After Dark. Make sure you tune into what they're doing at the Tape Never Lies Network. They do a lot of great content. Keeping It 100 is every Wednesday night. Make sure you're tuning into that, and make sure you're subscribed to everything that they're doing as well. Can't speak more highly for what these guys bring for as analysts, but true passion for the Chicago Bears. Thanks, of course. And
shout out bots in your
dude.
And
I guess that means that means you're doing something right. When there's a lot of bots in your chat, that means that you got a lot of people tuned in. So I'll take it as a compliment, as annoying as it's been here tonight. So that wraps things up. Appreciate everyone that tuned in. Please hit that like button as we're driving towards 100,000 subscribers here at CHGO Sports. Tune in to CHGO Blackhawks post-game show here later tonight, as the Blackhawks have started the season pretty hot here as well. All the programming you need as we cover all the sports here in Chicago for CHGO Sports. So thank you to everyone. Subscribe to the channel, like button, all that stuff. Catch you on Twitter Spaces. See you tomorrow for trade deadline news. And as I always like to say, keep your head up and always bear down.
Bear down.
Catch the ball, Cole.
We all silly like the mayor.